What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what time it is. This is a tech testimony. I'm interviewing Nemesio. He went from working at FedEx, and we're going to talk about that. Working at FedEx, he was hospitalized for a while. I'm curious to know some details on that. But then also, after doing a tech boot camp, he ended up scaling into the tech industry. We're going to talk about that as well. So, y'all, I'm very excited about this conversation because we talked about a lot of different people, whether people went from truck driving, like semi trucks, or they went from policing, they went from a car dealership, they went from insurance, whatever, into transition into the tech industry. Have not interviewed anybody who transitioned from FedEx. Haven't interviewed somebody where the story involved them being hospitalized for a minute. So I didn't ask him too many details about that because I was like, y'all, I genuinely want to hear that story first. But that being said, for everybody that's tuning in, for those of you that want to do the exact same boot camp that he did to get into the industry, he did course careers. All you need to do is comment "Get me in tech" if you are on Instagram. Get me in tech. But for those of you on YouTube and LinkedIn, just click the link in the description down below and you'll see the link that's there. For those of you who've already done a boot camp and you don't need education and you just need help getting in the tech industry, we have job placement assistance. For those of you that are on Instagram, y'all will see a second link that's there. If you just need job placement assistance with recruiters and hiring leaders, same thing. For those of you on YouTube and LinkedIn, look at the description down below. And under the link for the boot camp he did, you'll see a link just for you to schedule for job placement assistance with recruiters and hiring leaders. That being said, I'm kind of wishing I cut the AC on before we got started, but it is what it is. We're gonna rock and roll. So, Nemesio Messi, bro, y'all know I just came from South America, so thinking of like your nickname being Messi, it's got me think about the football player.
Yeah,
Um,
no. uh,
yeah,
I tell everybody, hey, you're not gonna forget my name. He's the best soccer player in the world.
facts.
So
Those are facts. Yeah, he is. He is. So look, let's get into it. So first off, Um, first and foremost, thank you for being here. Secondly, congratulations. Even though I looked at your LinkedIn, one thing that I didn't do, I actually didn't pay attention to when you actually got in the industry. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go ahead and jump in. Shouts out to everybody that's tuning in, that's here in the chat. Make sure y'all are dropping y'all's questions in the industry, or dropping y'all's questions, so that way, once Messi and I finish with his story, we can answer you all's questions. So let's go ahead and get into it. So let's do a quick snapshot. So Messi, first and foremost, bro, you talk about what your role is in the tech industry.
yeah, man. So I'm working, and thank you so much for having me. I'm working basically. I'm an IT technician. I work
Mhm.
with remote monitoring and management, a specific type of software. And also EDR, endpoint detection and response. Work with a bunch of different softwares and to essentially support mid to small businesses and make sure that MSPs, managed service providers, can manage all of these different companies and businesses that you go by day to day, police departments, gas stations, all of those things. So making sure that the tech infrastructure is running smoothly.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on, so we can break that down further for some people that might be more curious. So you are IT. So what is the role again, or the title?
Yeah, so the title, it's I get a lot of flack for the title, but it's called Remote Monitoring and Management Engineer. Could be an expert, but essentially it's working with like tech support, dealing
Mhm.
with different software, and these software are what is used to basically manage small businesses. So if you think about it, if you're a gas station, if you're a dentist office, right, you're not going to have an on-site IT department. You're gonna usually contract your IT services out to an MSP,
Yeah.
and that MSP needs software to do this managing, to remotely manage these computers, these devices, these even printers down to the printers, and it's also protecting and securing them, right? Making sure that there's antivirus and making sure that there's a SOC, a security operations center that is monitoring these devices. So it's pretty cool. It's robust to all the different things that are the software that I provide support does. But at the end of the day, it's just making sure that I'm as technical and as fluent with our apps as possible, and then providing good support.
Okay. All right, thanks for that full breakdown. Now, so you explain what your role is in the tech industry. So, what is the range? A lot of people are going to want to know, like, what's the range for, let's say, a range for someone who's starting off in that space, all the way to some of the highest career earning potential that you've heard of within that space. And technically, the sector is technically it's within like it overlaps within the IT support space, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So I work with, I work in IT information technology. I also
So,
work with elements of cybersecurity.
okay.
In entry level, getting one of these jobs, you're gonna be looking at like 40 to $60,000, just depending on how well you sell yourself, how lucky you are when you're applying, and how close you are to those tech hubs. Um, right now, I'd say the highest paying jobs are going to be obviously like director positions, director of support,
Mhm.
maybe QA director, but those are going to be making like 180,000, maybe $200,000.
Yeah.
But getting up into the hundred thousands is definitely doable. I'd say pushing once you're in the career for about 5 to 7 years, you should be pushing into the hundred thousands, at least in my into the six figures, at least in my specific sphere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So you are within the realm of the IT support space. The someone starting off entry level is looking to make, north of 60K. Someone as they scale, they can make up to 200K, maybe a little bit above that as they scale over the years. And so one of the things I want to highlight for people, we talk about this being the tech industry being a six figure industry or six figure career, meaning that depending on the role that you go after, you'll either start out, in some cases, start out at about six figures. Like I started at 90,000. My OTE really put me at like 98,000, but you'll start either right at six figures or you'll start right below it. And then within a year or 2 years, you'll be able to scale to that 100K mark. Again, depending on how you're moving, the companies you're at, all of that good stuff. So thanks for that breakdown. So if you could tell us, and you don't have to give a full breakdown, but just in a quick snapshot, how exactly did you get in the industry? And then we'll kind of go back and go through all of the details.
Yeah, so I got in the industry because I got actually injured. I was a FedEx driver,
You're doing too
and
much. You're doing too much.
yeah, yeah,
So,
man. Nah,
just a quick snapshot. Like, how did you get in the industry? Then we're gonna go back and go through all of the details. So, like,
okay.
did you like what education did you get? Like, what helps you get in the industry?
Yeah, so I got into industry with just, taking course careers. I had no prior experience. I was a FedEx driver. I got injured. My friend had he had completed the course. He had gotten like a $60,000 job pretty quickly. So I decided to, give it a shot because I had nothing left going for me at that point in my life.
Man, so super fire. So again, just a quick snapshot for everybody who joined in. So he, in terms of role, the space, the industry he's in within the tech industry, it overlaps within the IT support space or the information technology support space. In terms of entry level pay, starting out, usually the range could be say on average 50,000, just to say in the middle, but really ranging between 40 to 60K, and being able to scale over the years up to about 200K within that space. And of course, you can always pivot over to other spaces because, again, the IT support space is really the foundation of a lot of technical spaces in the industry, whether we're talking cybersecurity, whether we're talking, even DevOps, things like that. So you really the sky's the limit when it comes down to it. But in terms of how he got in the industry, he did course careers. Y'all know I've interviewed at this point probably about 30 or 40 people who've done course careers. Really amazing program that's helped a lot of people get in the industry. But um, we're gonna learn specifically from Messi, from his story, what his experience and some of his challenges. So that being said, I know Messi, just like in the thumbnail, just like you mentioned earlier, you were working at FedEx. So could we go back to like before you were even thinking about getting in the industry? I know you said that a friend of yours kind of inspired you, but what was going on in your life before you were even thinking about getting in the industry? And I know you mentioned that you had gotten into an accident. Like, what happened with that accident, and how did that like play into you deciding to like make that transition?
Yeah, man. So I'd originally like, dropped out of college when I was like, 20. I had done like 2 years and then I was about to finish college. Um ran out of like money that I had saved in like a prepaid fund, failed a couple classes and realized like I'm gonna have to take student loans. So after I did that, I did door-to-door sales. I was a valet driver. COVID hits, I'm pretty unstable, no career, got unemployment, got blessed with a FedEx job, during COVID. And so, I thought I was like, okay, cool, life's gonna be good. But it indeed was not. It was FedEx ground doesn't get like the benefits of like a FedEx company, the company itself, they're
I didn't know.
contractors. Yeah. So I
Okay.
had no benefits. I was getting paid $135 a day, and it didn't matter like how long the day was. It could be like, 10 hours, it could be 14 hours. And so I dislocated my shoulder carrying a package down the stairs with some wet shoes and, slipped, dislocated the shoulder once, and then a year later, wet shoes dislocated my shoulder again, and then yeah, there was no more doing FedEx after that. Doctor told me I could never do a manual labor job again unless I wanted to have a sling. Yeah, man. So, at that point, it was like, okay, I gotta find something else. I gotta find a new career path.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Like, I don't. I haven't been like seriously injured before, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm at that age now where I could tell that even though I work out and stuff, I'm at that age where I could tell like, yo, if I get bumped a little bit too hard, something
It's
gonna
no
break.
fun, man. It's
I'm
no
like,
fun, dude. Yeah, nah.
that is crazy. Somebody said, "How you slip twice?" It was a year apart. Come on,
Yeah, yeah,
it's possible to fall two times within a year. That's possible. And that's crazy though, and that's wild because like you mentioned, you didn't have those benefits. Yeah, I was completely unaware that. I assumed because when you said you were at FedEx, my first thought was like, oh, cool, like you had benefits. Because even when I saw the picture of you in the hospital, I was thinking like, oh, I'm sure like you had benefits and stuff that kind of covered you when it came to that. So that's wild. So 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 you're at that point where you're like, okay, dang, this happened to me twice. Now I can't do any more manual labor work. At what point, like, what did you end? Did you end up doing something else in the meantime, or did you directly? Was that the exact around the same time your friend had gotten a job from doing course careers?
yeah, yeah. It was about the same time. I didn't do anything. I was on workers' comp, so the state of Florida, like legally, was made. There's like some insurance that make them have to give me, workers' comp, which was like, uh, 50% of my pay. It wasn't much, but it was helping me with like my car payment. But yeah, I didn't do anything, no work. I was just, lounging around with a sling. But then after about 6 months, doctor was like, yeah, man, you're gonna be good to go back. Well, not back to work, but you're gonna be good to be cleared from workers' comp. And I had like a month left, and I hadn't done anything. And so, that's why, I was talking with my friend, and he was like, "Dude, you should just try this course." It took me a couple weeks, and I'm working for the bank and making some bank. And I was like, for me, 60,000 was almost double than what I was making at that FedEx, ground job. So I was like, dude, like, let me add it. So I did it, and yeah, that's what got me into the course, and that's what got me started.
Yo, man, shouts out to your friend. That's man, that's incredible. And the timing of that, honestly, the timing of that is wild. Is
Yeah,
wild.
man.
Honestly, like honestly, that's a major blessing, just the timing of that. Because I would say most people that I see that get in tech, they're either coming from one or two positions. It's either people that make like really good money, like people that are like in the medical field or healthcare. They got a lot of money, but they're burnt out because they're having to work 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day. and it's like, and they're working 6 days a week, so they barely even get to enjoy their money or enjoy their life, so they're burnt out. So either those people get into tech, or there's people who are making a lot of money, but they have a lot of kind of like free time and availability, and but you were in a position to where like you weren't broke, but it's like you were in a position to where like, okay, you weren't making a lot of money, but you also were working the same amount of hours as like a nurse or somebody in the medical field, and then you getting injured and stuff, you on bed rest or light duty. And so but the timing of that was so perfect. So your friend, he told you he got a job a couple weeks, it sounds like, based on what you said, a couple weeks after he finished the same program you did. So you ended up doing the program. And real quick, for everybody, I see people dropping questions on Instagram. For those of y'all that have questions, make sure you are clicking the drop down above my head, above me and Messi's head. There's a drop down. You click that drop down, and there will be a question box that will appear. Please put your questions there so that way we can answer your questions, because it'll have all of your questions consolidated in one place. And it'll be easy for us to get to your questions once we transition over to your questions. But that being said, someone said, any suggestions on getting your first help desk job to break into tech? That's within the realm of the same thing he's talking about. So IT support, the same program he did. If you do that program, literally like it says in the pinned comment, get me in tech. If you click the discount link there for course careers, you do the IT support program, you can get a help desk job through that. So that's a good option for you. So definitely, literally, the conversation we're having is perfect for your question. But everybody else, make sure y'all click the question box that's above my head on Instagram, and then put your questions in the designated question area, so that way we don't miss your questions. But anyway, so back to Messi's story. So just a kind of quick snapshot for those of y'all who missed it. His friend did, he was, he gotten injured while working at FedEx, got injured twice. They didn't have insurance. FedEx wasn't providing insurance to be able to cover him or make sure he was good and stuff. And the doctor, after his second dislocation, the doctor told him like, hey, you can't do manual labor type of work anymore. And so literally he had about a month left of getting like 50% of his pay. He was making, I think he said, about like 173 a day. So you do,
130.
oh, 130. Yeah, 130. So 130 a day. So y'all split that in half, roughly about $65 a day. And which, that's tough, because I mean, even as a Lyft driver, when I was a Lyft driver before I transitioned into tech, that I was making more as a Lyft driver, and even I was struggling. So I'm like imagining like how hard that was for you. But luckily, the timing was perfect. His friend did the same program that we're talking about. His friend did the program, so his friend was able to tell him to do the exact same program. So back to your story, Messi. So when you did the program, I know your friend told you about it. Was there anything in your mind that was like, okay, I know it worked out for I know it worked out for them, but okay, is it gonna work out for me? Is this legitimate? Or were you just like really confident? You're like, no, I'm about to do this and it's gonna work out. Like, where was your headspace at?
Yeah, man. So like I do a lot of research, I'm into YouTube. I he had a video on YouTube with the creator. He was one of the first people that I guess had completed the course and actually got a job. So the instructor of the course, Josh Matacore, had did a YouTube video with my friend, had like, 17,000 views. So I was like, oh, this is kind of legit. So
Yeah.
I watched that video, and then I was like, okay, like this instructor he's pretty cool, man. Like he's very chill, very, very easy to follow. Wasn't like some, extremely some genius. I mean, he's real smart, but he doesn't like come off as, I don't know, he doesn't come off as like unrelatable. And
Yeah.
he's always, kind of into giving you the back door and giving you the truth and telling you how it is. So in any event, watch some more of his videos. D- Went on the reviews, read all the reviews. I was like, okay, like, you know what? Let me give this a try. Like if my friend could do this, he was basically like, I can give you some tips along the way. And then I was like, you know what, I really have nothing to lose at this point. And so yeah, we did it.
Yo, that's fire. That's fire. So uh what I guess how long did it take like for you to finish the programs? I know it's self-paced. How long did it take for you to finish it? And then how much longer after you finished it did it take you before you got your first offer letter or got the offer letter that you ended up accepting?
Yeah, so I completed the course in 2.5 weeks, because I had that 1 month before my workers' comp was going to end. So I kind of like used that as like the cutoff. Like I needed to have something in a month. I think it was pretty good to have that, just because I had a car payment.
Yeah.
I was living at home with my mom, and she was asking for rent. So, I was just, I had a, it was not, I wasn't feeling good about myself. Also, I'm not working. So I really locked in. Essentially I did the program in 2.5 weeks, and then I had built my tech portfolio. I had tailored my resume. I ran it through their strategy, and did the chat GBT edits that I needed to do on it to make it, a tech focused resume instead of like a FedEx driver. And then changed my previous job title. Had a really nice cover letter that they helped me make, the course careers program. So yeah, once I had the resume, the cover letter, the tech portfolio, and the certification, it was just like apply, apply, apply. And so I applied for 2 more weeks, and I had got that offer letter at it was about a month and then a half of a week before I got the first job.
Yo, that's fire.
Yeah, man.
So y'all, so literally, so 2.5 weeks to finish the program, a month and about a week. So collectively, it was basically about 7 weeks between you starting the program and you stepping into, or you at least getting your offer letter from your first job.
No, it was 4. It was
Oh,
from
4 weeks.
the beginning. It was like a week, 4 weeks, and then a half of a week, almost 5 weeks. So
Oh, so basically,
yeah,
almost 5 weeks from you starting and you getting your offer letter, your first job.
yeah, it was like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's incredible, man. Hey y'all gotta put some fire emojis in the chat. Put some fire emojis, some clapping emojis. People are already putting that. Somebody's head is exploding. They're doing a clapping emoji. Hey y'all, put some fire emojis, some clapping emojis. Literally 4.5 weeks, roughly 5 weeks from starting to getting his first offer letter in the program. And so, man, that's incredible. So you got your first offer letter. Now, what was the moment like? Did they call you? Did they email you? And when you actually got the offer, like was there, I guess even while I know you said you're applying, you were kind of in the weeds. Was there any part of you that had like any doubt, like, okay, is this really going to work out for me? Or is anybody going to hire me? Or were you just very confident throughout the process?
Yeah, man. There was really no doubt, just because I kind of, I go about life as kind of like this life or death attitude. So when I'm
Yeah.
doing something that's kind of like, there's really no other options. I try not to let my brain think about that, because then I'll have an easy way out. So in my mind, it was just, is it going to take me, 2 years to get a job? And it happened to take me 1 month. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I knew I was going to get it
Yeah.
eventually. So,
Yeah.
I just had to essentially make sure that I made myself as hireable. I don't know if that's a word, but
Yeah.
I got good at IT, and then I also spent a lot of time making myself good at getting hired. So just making sure I could speak during an interview, had really good questions to ask at the end of the interview. Um, I had specific strategies. Also, when you had asked when they had given me the call, I had a good idea that I was going to get the job, because most of these interviews go in like, there's three of them. The first one will be the recruiter, the hiring manager. They're pretty easy, just as long as you know what to say, you have some energy, right? The second interview is going to be with the floor manager. That's like the guy who's probably going to be your boss, the guy or gal, if you get the job. And they're usually a little bit more technical. And that's the person that you have to kind of come with your P's and Q's, come sharp for the second interview. The third interview, if you get past, the second interview, you're pretty much gonna get the job. You have to go with the director, and the director is just gonna sit back, and he's really chill, because of his manager wants you, he'll want you too. So they're going to ask you some questions. But if you think about it as almost like an arc, right? The beginning will be easy, the end will be easy. Just get through that middle spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got called by the hiring manager, and originally they were only gonna give me what was it, $15 an hour. They started me at $20 an hour, but this was 2 years ago. So for me, that was, I was only making $135 a day, and that didn't matter if I did 14 hours. But now I was making $160 a day, and I was working at Disney. I was working a Disney contract, and it was super good for my resume. And yeah, that's how it started.
It's incredible, incredible. And I'm sure I know that you've worked, you left that company, and you don't have to like say the company's names or anything if you don't want to, but I know you ended up scaling to another company. I'm assuming when you job hop or transition to another company that there was like a pay increase since then, correct?
Yeah, yeah. No, there's definitely been a pay increase since then, and we get, great bonuses, I'd say. From, from FedEx to now, it's almost over 100% of a pay increase. So definitely great for me being in, IT for 2 years. Got sent to Colombia because to train, the newest office, the newest team that we have out there. So, just great opportunities, really trying to take it to the next level.
Do you tú hablas español?
Oh, poquito, man. Yo aprendiendo español.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you have me curious. So super cool, man. That's incredible. Such an incredible story, man. So much insight. A couple things I want to highlight that you said. I really want people to pay attention. One was the mindset. You're like, yo, you just have this like this, it has to work type of mindset. And man, I will be real. A lot of people, when I see a lot of people looking to get into tech, I either see people with your mindset or I see people that are like, they're more like, is it gonna work for me? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And honestly, sometimes when I talk to those people, I'm like, yo, you don't even need to try to get in the industry because your mindset is like, or people are like, oh, is the program, is it gonna work? Okay, I know it worked for thousands of other people, but is it gonna work for me? And I'm like, yo, that mindset is such a scary mindset to have because it's like I have the mindset, I think it's similar to yours. If I see something work for even just a few people, I don't care if it didn't work for 100 other people. I'm like, what did those few people do? Because if it worked for them, I'm going to figure out how to make it work for me. And so, another thing I want to highlight that you said was how you mentioned you're like, yo, I knew it was going to work. But you said like whether it was going to be 2 years, it's like either way, it's like one, you had a certain level of not just confidence, but also a certain level of patience as well, where you were willing and very similar to me. I'll be real. You probably had more grace than I had. In my mind, when I did a boot camp, I was like, yo, I said, I'm gonna give it at least a year, at least a year. Now, of course, now that I know what I know, I believe it's worth trying 3 years, 4 years, whatever. But same way, like that mindset. So again, I want to highlight this for people to be able to take notes from really like your mindset to be able to learn like, okay, one, have that level of confidence. It's like you saw it work for your one friend and you were like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So one, that level of confidence, two, a certain level of patience and tenacity. But the other thing you said that I thought was fire is that you said, yeah, I had the education from the program, but also I did what I needed to do to make sure I was sharp in the interviews. And that's something a lot of people miss out on. A lot of people get this education, they get certifications, they do a program, they even go to college, and then they're like, man, I can't, for some reason I'm not getting past the first interview or the second round interview. And it's like that piece you mentioned, it's like it is truly a skill to get a job. Like that's separate from the education. And so I
Yep.
love all the nuggets you dropping. Like y'all, like he's giving some good gems. Like yeah, got a lot of fire emojis and stuff from people in the comments. So yeah, love the nuggets and gems and stuff that you dropping, man. Super incredible. And you scaled since then. You're at a company. I'm not gonna say the company's name. Y'all could check him out on LinkedIn if you want to kind of snoop and see the company. But the company you're at, I actually have a lot of friends who work there because I was living in Miami for a while. I was living like right in Brickell, right by your company,
Oh
like
yeah,
walking
yeah, yeah.
distance.
That's where the headquarters is. Yeah.
And so a lot of people who did the same program you did to get in tech, a lot of them ended up getting jobs at that same company. You probably know a few of them. So So I love the progression, the transition. Love it so much. And yeah, somebody said in the comments, getting a job now is harder than ever. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know it's because it's more competitive. And so it's like, and that's the purpose of this platform. That's the purpose of interviewing dope people like Messi, is not just to say, hey, do a boot camp, do a boot camp. That's cool, but it's also to hear what specifically he did. Like, what are some of the pieces that he did for y'all to get those nuggets and get those gems, like what it is he's giving. So love it so very much. So look, y'all, we are about to transition into the questions that y'all have. So again, for everybody that's on Instagram, make sure. Oh crap, it doesn't do that on the. I'm gonna have to get on Instagram on my phone. Yeah, make sure y'all are clicking the link above our heads. There's a drop down that we click. It's like an arrow drop down. When you click on it, you'll be able to post your questions there on Instagram for us to be able to get to you all's questions. So let me do this. Oh, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to get on the Texas Me Black Instagram. Like,
I'm gonna grab my charger real quick.
how is this even gonna work? My bad, y'all. I'm telling y'all to put y'all question in the question section. I don't even know. I don't even think I could read the questions from because I'm on the I'm not even on Instagram live the normal way. So go ahead and put y'all's questions in the chat for any questions y'all have on Instagram. Same thing for YouTube and LinkedIn. Put your questions in the chat. But just a quick snapshot for a lot of y'all that missed out. Messi went. So I'm interviewing Messi. He went from working at FedEx, got injured twice, dislocated his shoulder twice, really like bad slip, hurt himself. The company wasn't providing insurance, and also his doctor told him that he could no longer do any manual labor work, which is crazy. Like clearly a young dude, either that or he's a vampire, one or the other. But it's like literally wasn't able to do any more manual labor work. Luckily, around that same time, while he was on light duty, kind of sort of just chilling at the house, literally one of his friends did a tech boot camp, got a job very quickly. That same friend told him, hey, bro, you should do the same program. I got a job quickly. You should look into it as well. Messi didn't just do it hesitantly. He had he watched an interview similar to this, and then he went in with the right mindset, did the program, and from start to him getting his offer was less than 5 weeks. It was shy of 5 weeks from him starting the program to him getting his offer. Now the program is literally like for those that want to like save a little bit of money, I have a discount link for it. It's literally $449 with my discount link. For those of y'all that want to do it, for those of y'all that are on YouTube and LinkedIn, again, I'll encourage y'all make sure y'all have a clear mindset. Now they have other programs. They have like the IT support track, like what Messi did. My recommendation is either do that or do the tech sales track or do the data analytics track. Those are the three that I encourage y'all to do because those are the three that typically either they pay the best and you can scale the furthest income wise. And those are the three that are in some of the highest demand as well, particularly if you either want to work in tech and or if you want to be able to work remote. So again, either one, for those of y'all that want to do help desk or something in the IT support space that overlaps within that space, y'all can go that route, or y'all can go the tech sales route, like the route that I went, or you can go the data analytics route, so that way you can scale into like data science and other opportunities in the tech industry as well. But either way, for those of y'all on LinkedIn and YouTube, there's a drop down beneath this video. If you click on the drop down, you'll see the discount link there. You click on that discount link, look into the program and see which one it is you want to do. Again, I encourage one of those three, but hey, do whatever you want to do. It's completely up to you. And for those of y'all on Instagram, all you need to do on Instagram, not YouTube and LinkedIn, because y'all be mistaken this. On Instagram, just comment "Get me in tech," and you'll receive a DM, and it'll have two options. Now, for those of y'all that don't need a boot camp, you don't need education, maybe you've already done a boot camp, you've already went to college, or you have a lot of certifications, and you only need job placement assistance for any job in tech. We have job placement assistance across 10 different major companies with recruiters and hiring leaders. So same thing, YouTube, LinkedIn, click the link, click the drop down, and you'll see a link down below. On Instagram, if you comment "Get me in tech," the same DM will have a second option for those that only need the job placement assistance. Someone said, do you find most tech sales to be based in the US only. Yes, most are based in the US. Unless you want to work for a non US tech company, which I don't recommend because they usually don't pay as well. Most tech sales jobs are based in the US because you need to be within the same time zone. That's just very common, honestly. But you can work for a let me be clear. You can do a tech sales job while not living in the US, and you can do it for a US based tech company. There are just fewer opportunities, but those opportunities do exist. So if you do live overseas, you can get a tech sales job. There will be fewer opportunities, but fewer means there will be about 5,000 jobs for available for you to apply to instead of 50,000. It's like either way, you'll still have a lot of jobs to be able to apply to. That being said, let's go ahead and look at some of the questions y'all are sending in. I'm gonna focus on questions that I feel like apply to Messi, so we can really get some more gems from him while we have him here. And so let's see what y'all are talking about. See what y'all are talking about. Baha, yes sir, we back. Maybe one day Cyrus can interview me. Oh, you start your cloud roll next week. Major congratulations. Yeah, DM me, message me on LinkedIn so we can talk. Congratulations on starting at your job next week. Somebody said Cristiano Ronaldo is the best. Say yes, I'm Portuguese. Hey, shouts out to both of them. They low key. They Kobe and LeBron are there. LeBron and MJ. We're talking about Cristiano, or we're talking Ronaldo and Messi. So shouts out to both of them. What we saying? Currently a carrier for USPS, trying to get into the tech industry. Hey, this is a perfect interview for you. Perfect interview for you. That's it. That's his former ops, USPS. So
Oh.
yeah, glad to see someone coming from a similar background. Messi, what's I guess a quick word of advice you have for someone who is transitioning or they want to transition? I guess specifically for this person who wants to transition from USPS to over to the tech space.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to find like a program to give you that base knowledge, that base IT knowledge. I recommend Course Careers, but there's other programs out there as well. And you're gonna want to build a tech portfolio. So once you build that IT base knowledge, it shouldn't take you too long. Then you're gonna build your tech portfolio, and from there, then you're gonna start applying. I recommend that you kind of become obsessed, similar to like when you're into a new movie or a video game or something like that. Watch a lot of YouTube videos. When you have free time, listen to the Cyberwire Daily podcast, or there's Darknet Diaries. So listen to different, cybersecurity podcasts. When you're eating food, have a YouTube video, have Professor Messer's, free A+ course on. And then when you're locking in, you do your program. And if you just kind of incorporate these, also do practice quizzes.
Mhm.
There's practice tests online that you can get for free that are just going to be asking IT questions. So you're doing these practice tests, you have your tech portfolio, you're become obsessed, you're listening to podcasts, you're watching videos, you do an IT course, you're just checking every single box, and then you just need to have the energy, and you just got to make sure you're not like coming into those interviews like nervous and stuff like that. Like you can be completely honest about where you come from. You just have to show that like that motivation to get better, and that's where a lot of hiring managers, and even my managers and team leaders, when they're hiring people, it's not even about how technically gifted they are. Most of the time it's just how much energy they have, how they can respond to, in a high pressure interview environment. Will be similar to when they're dealing with clients. So just get obsessed, and then make sure you're applying for a lot of jobs as well.
I love that so much. I want to highlight the piece that he mentioned where he was like, "Yo, become obsessed with the industry." That's facts. Let me be real. A lot of people, a lot of people want to get in the industry, and all they think, mind you, my biggest reason for wanting to be in the industry is for the money. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing I pay attention to in the industry, y'all. So it's very important that you don't look at the tech industry like a job. Like you don't look at it like, oh, I'm just trying to get a job in this industry. It is important that you, like he mentioned, become semi obsessed with the industry, where you really involve yourself in the industry. Because this industry, there's a certain like lingo, a certain culture that this industry has. And honestly, there is some gatekeeping in this industry. And a lot of the most of the gatekeeping is if the recruiters, hiring managers, whoever, if they feel like you really are not really in this industry, they feel like you're just an outsider who's just trying to get a job. It's very strange. It's hard to explain it, but that's kind of how the industry is. So it is important. I mean, you got to think about it. If there's anything worth obsessing over, I would say outside of God and your family, it is an industry that can change your life and really double your income and then over time quadruple or 10x how much you make. And so that is definitely worthwhile. And so I'll be real, a lot of people obsess over Instagram and they're not making any money or a lot of money from Instagram. A lot of people obsess over a lot of people obsess over like battle rap, or they obsess over celebrity gossip, or they obsess over things that don't make them money. And to me, I get it, but it's kind of crazy. Like, unless you are making decent money, you should not be obsessing over anything unless it's over something that can get you to a place to make good money. It's just like, that quote J. Cole said. He said, some people make millions, other people make memes. And so it's a lot of people that do silly stuff with their lives. And it's like, what do you really have going on? And so that being said, I love that he said that, obsessed, because that definitely correlates with me. I definitely had obsessed. I had nothing to do with tech, and as soon as I wanted to get in the tech industry, I literally prayed and I was like, God, help me really involve myself in this space. And that was before I even knew this platform was going to be created. So I love all the gems that Messi is dropping. Somebody put a comment, Messi, bro. You were talking earlier, I almost bust out laughing. I had to like keep my poker face. Somebody said, and it was around the time you were talking about when you said you slipped twice. Somebody said them shoes need to be burned.
Yeah, man, nah, it was not good. It was not good. Like, I live in Florida, so, it's always raining, and I would always be watching my step, and, 2 times is too many times. Too many times.
That's crazy. And you won't. Hey, when you grown and you fall, that really hurt because we heavier than we were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it was the worst pain of my life, you know what I'm saying? I had to call my mother, who's freaking however far, instead of getting the ambulance, 'cause I'm not trying to get an ambulance bill. Rolling around, on the floor. I've got, some lady whose house I was probably gonna deliver at is coming out like, "Are you okay?" My shoulder is, in my jacket, but it's, hanging. Yeah, no, and then have to get it reset, but then having to go back to surgery and yeah, so not fun. Not fun.
Man, somebody's asking in the comments. It's up to you if you want to answer this. They're asking. They say, "How old is he?"
I'm 28. I just turned 28.
Okay, well, happy belated. They're probably asking if they want to, because some people are like, they try to think about their age and, oh, if this person got it.
Mhm.
One thing I do want to be clear, y'all, you shouldn't look at someone's age and think, okay, well, if I'm way older than that or I'm way younger than that, I can't get in the industry. I've interviewed people that got in tech in their 60s. I've interviewed two people who did the same program he did that were 17. They got in tech literally the summer after they graduated high school. One of them, his first, like literally, he did the same program. His first job in the industry was somewhere between 95K and 120K. He literally went from high school to making basically six figures. And that was, I interviewed him a year and a half, 2 years ago. So now he's probably making like 150, 160,000. Ain't even 20 years old yet. So again, y'all, do not think too much about your age. Again, it's more about how you interview, your education, how you come off, those things. And also, legally, no one can ask you your age. No recruiter is going to ask you how old you are. That's against the law for them to even do that. So again, don't allow yourself to block yourself or deny yourself opportunities. So we're gonna get to a few more questions that are over here on Instagram, and I'm gonna let Messi go. Also, Messi, bro, please, I don't want to be holding you up, so we'll do a couple more questions. But if you need to like jump, yo, I respect your life. I respect your time.
Yeah, no, we're good. We can do a couple more.
Okay, cool. So somebody said I got injured at UPS and knew that that was not the career for me. Working to get into tech now. Hey, congratulations. Yeah, so Zay Frizon, what program he did? Yeah, comment, get me in tech. and you'll receive the information for the program in your DMs. What type of laptop? So I guess I'll relay this question to you. Someone's asking, what type of laptop do you need for this tech space?
Yeah, for me, I didn't even have a computer. Like when I started, I was like, it was bad. You know, I couldn't even, I didn't even know how to copy and paste, Control C and Control V. Like I was very not technically adept. But I used my girlfriend's old MacBook. Yeah, and I was spinning up virtual machines, Windows virtual machines. Everything was working fine. I known someone that did the program with an iPad. It's a tablet, so I wouldn't recommend it. But just as long as that you have like just a crappy old laptop should get the job done.
I love that you said that you didn't have a computer at the time. So I bought a computer. It's not even a brand name computer. I got it off Amazon and it was like $140. Like it was not a brand. It was something from China. I know most computers probably come from China, but it was like some knockoff, no name computer. Didn't have a webcam. Didn't have anything. So in order for me to do my interviews, I was doing my interviews on my phone. I was putting my phone, propping it up on a tripod, and I'll be on Google Meet. I was doing all of that stuff on my phone, y'all. So I got a webcam eventually that was able to connect to my computer, but I had to have the best Wi-Fi because that computer, the RAM on that computer was trash. And so, but I did a lot of my interviews off my phone. The first tech company I worked at, I literally got the job off doing interviews off of my phone. So y'all, just like he said, you could do it off your tablet, your phone. It's possible. Now, I don't recommend do not do interviews in y'all's car though. Do not be in y'all car doing
No,
interviews. I see people do that, and I'll be like, yo, y'all tripping. And
yeah,
so,
definitely not.
also the other piece I want to say is that because I know you asked what type of laptop do you need in this tech space. So I will tell you, most tech companies they give you your laptop. They ship you a laptop. They ship you your equipment. Like if you're working remote, they give you all your stuff. If you're not, even if you go into the office, they give you all the stuff. So that's pretty common. I mean, Messi, was that your experience? Did your company they provided all your
Oh
stuff for
yeah,
you? Yeah,
oh yeah, they give you everything.
exactly. Yeah, so like the computer I'm on now, so this MacBook, this is actually the first MacBook I've ever bought. My other MacBook is my work MacBook, and my company got it for me. I just decided to finally start buying my own stuff because I was like, if I'm doing something on my company computer, I don't want my company seeing that. But
For
literally,
real.
I've been in tech now for 3.5, almost 4 years, and I just bought my very first MacBook myself 2 months ago. Every computer, every setup I've had has been out of the pockets of my company. From my desk, my chairs that I've sat in, everything was from my company. My monitors, everything. Um, all right, so we're gonna do. Okay, that's an interesting question. Someone asked, how long after getting your first job did you transition to your next job?
Yeah, so I was in that position for 10 months. It was a 12-month contract at all four Disney theme parks. It was a crazy position. I would be in a different park every day. And my title was on-site application analyst, and I had that for 10 months. The contract was only for 12 months, so I looked at it like if I didn't have a job after 12 months, I was just going to be back in the same position I was, looking for a job again, not going to be an IT guy anymore. So while I was working, I was doing everything I was did before I had a job. I just had a job as a little bit of a cushion. I was building experience, but I felt like I went through it was like round two of like, okay, like really pedal to the metal. And I even had a position open. It was like for like the Bank of Brazil. It was like a cybersecurity position that I thought I had landed, and that flopped. So it was getting crazy. But eventually I got with this company, and now, since inside of here I'm leveling up, and we're gonna see if we'll stay here and milk the opportunities, or job hop. We're yet to see what we're gonna do, but so far I've been in this position now for about a year.
I'm curious, when you got at the company, were they still doing that huge equity package? Because when I first heard about the company you're at, it was 2 years ago, and they were doing like a crazy equity package with the company. And has your company hasn't gone public yet, have they?
Yeah, no, they're not. They were doing something. They actually attracted me with like a huge bonus. It was called a retention bonus. I know account managers, so like the tech sales guys, the guys that are selling our software. They were getting equity, and then the support team were getting retention bonuses. So it was like it was a five figure, it was a huge bonus, but. They in my offer letter, they didn't have they had it specific. They increased my salary and then took the retention bonus off. So I
Oh,
was they kind of got me. I thought I was getting both, but at the end of the day, I had got a decent starting salary, so
yeah,
can't complain.
that's good. That's fire. That's fire. Yo, love to hear it. Love to hear it. So, making sure none of these other questions are for you. All right. And I don't think there are. All right, now look on YouTube, LinkedIn. Okay, good. All right, so we'll have you. This is actually a perfect way for you to wrap up. Someone asked, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" So yeah, Messi, like, what is your goal? Like, both whether tech industry or even outside of the tech industry, like, where do you thinking about 5 years from now?
Yeah, man. So honestly, I see myself as a technical trainer. That's what I would really like to get into, right? Everybody wants to get into cybersecurity, and I think cybersecurity is super cool, but one major part of cybersecurity is just being on call. And I don't want to be on call. I kind of like the traveling aspect. It was cool getting to go to a different country and do training and teach people new skills. So, especially when I literally didn't know anything about technology or information technology or computers at all. Now I'm over here, teaching people. Super cool. So, I would like to get into, being the technical trainer for the company. That would be like a really cool goal. Or getting into, management, possibly quality assurance, like a QA. So kind of just seeing wherever it takes me, but what I want to do is make sure that I'm getting as technical as possible, learning as many things as I can from as many people, making good relationships with everybody around me, and then not burning any bridges, and then just kind of seeing where we can go.
Oh, that's fire, man. I love it so much. I love it. I love the plan of what it is you're working on. Yeah, man, super, super incredible. Look, bro, you dropped a lot of gems today. For those of y'all that tuned in late, Messi went from being working at FedEx, got injured twice, some pretty serious some pretty serious injuries. I cannot talk right now. Some serious injuries. Was told by the doctor like, yo, you can't do any manual labor work anymore. He ended up getting basically being kind of like on light duty, really kind of sort of bed rest. While he was chilling, was only making about $65, $70 a day. Luckily, around that same time, his friend finished the same program he ended up doing to get in tech. And then so he did the same program from starting the program to finishing. It was within 5 weeks. He started at his first tech company, literally doubled his income and really, just set him on a trajectory. Since then, he's scaled past that. He's transitioned to another tech company. So he's scaled since then, and really he dropped some incredible gems about mindset, about how he was confident that it was going to work for him. He was willing to be patient no matter how long it took. Luckily, it was super quick for him, but he was willing to wait a little bit longer. He dropped a lot of amazing gems about being able to interview well, like what the rounds of interviews are like, the whole breakdown. Really incredible story. And for those of y'all, I've interviewed at this point probably about 30 people who did the same program he did to get in tech, maybe more than that, honestly. And so, same program he did to get in the tech industry. So many people gotten jobs through the program, whether we're talking tech sales, we're talking, within the IT support space that he's in, or we're talking data analytics, all of that. Exact same program. For those of y'all that missed it, that's on Instagram. Just comment "Get Me in Tech" for a link to that program. For those of y'all on YouTube and LinkedIn, click the link down below. They're in the you'll see in the description. There's a discount link there. Program is only $449 with my discount link. And so for those of y'all that don't know, many of y'all do know, but for those of y'all that don't know, Tech is the New Black receives affiliate kickback from that. So that's how we're able to kind of keep things running with our team and stuff. So I'm just giving y'all at least a heads up about that so that we have full transparency. But the program is solid. A lot of people, including obviously Messi and his friend, have gotten in the industry through the program. So look, y'all, make sure y'all tapping with him, continue to follow him. Don't like bombard him with 1,000 questions and stuff. But I would say like tap in with him on LinkedIn, follow him on LinkedIn. And so yeah, man, this is really incredible. I'm like you dropped way more gems than I even thought you were gonna drop, bro. So I love this. This is actually like a huge pleasant surprise, man. So thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you having me. I've got videos on YouTube as well and a TikTok. Just like to, like I said, just help people get into IT in specific and just provide motivation. So that's my Big Bro Tech is my handle. You can find me as well. And yeah, man, I just appreciate you having me. It was great speaking to everybody. And honestly, it's a career that I recommend anybody gets into, just as long as lock down, you focus, and you don't give up. It's just a matter of time until you get the job.
Yeah, I love that so much, man. Look, I'm gonna hang out to answer a few more questions. But I at least wanted to give you your flowers and thank you for coming on, bro.
Okay, man. Appreciate you having me. Talk to you, bro.
All right, bro. Peace. All right, y'all. That was good. That was good. So we're gonna get to a few of y'all's questions that y'all have left over, and then I'm gonna wrap up as well. I just got back in the U.S. I haven't been in the U.S. for about a month, so this is my first time back in the U.S., back in the country, back in the English-speaking world. So let's get to some of the questions y'all sent. So someone had asked, "Hey, single dad, bachelor's in criminal law, trying to get in a job from home to finish everything. Any recommendations?" Yeah, I mean, recommendation. I mean, my recommendation is always the tech industry, but I will say, if you're looking for something part time or just on the side, then the tech industry isn't for you. This industry is definitely not an industry that's just like for like little part time work. I mean, there are jobs in tech where you have a lot of freedom, and so that's possible, but that varies company to company. So I wouldn't recommend getting in the tech industry if you're looking for part-time work. But if you're looking for like a career where you can make really amazing money, you know, have amazing trajectory, definitely the tech industry. So I would say comment, since you're on Instagram, comment "Get Me in Tech" and you'll receive the link with the information. Uh, Someone said, "Did you secure the job through applying on LinkedIn?" He secured the job through applying on LinkedIn, through actually applying, going the traditional route based on what he said. Honestly, what's the best entry level tech job? The best entry level tech job, if you're talking something that's going to pay you really well, is in really high demand, and also is not about to be replaced anytime soon by I would say tech sales. I would say tech sales. Let me think if there's anything else. I would say tech sales, but if you really don't want to sell anything, then I would say either tech sales, DevOps, because DevOps is in really high demand and there's very few people going after DevOps careers or DevOps roles. So I would say tech sales, DevOps, or if you're willing to start at like 50,000, 60,000, because usually when I talk about getting in tech, usually I'm talking about starting at closer to around 80,000 or more. Um, Usually that's what I'm talking about. But starting at Messi, who was just on here, he started at $60,000 his first tech company. That's good. You know, unless you're already making $70,000, $80,000, starting at 60,000 and scaling from that is still good. So, but I will say, if you want to go more the help desk or the IT support route, you are going to start a little bit lower. You are going to start around somewhere around 50, 60,000 ish. If you want to start a little higher, you're going to want to go for more of a tech sales role or a DevOps role. If you go to one of those, you're usually going to start around like 85, 90,000 or a little bit more, or maybe a little bit less. So again, my recommendations will be tech sales. Someone said customer success. Customer success is within the tech sales space. That's within the tech sales space, tech sales category. Because customer success, I want to be clear, customer success in the tech industry is different than customer support outside of tech. What does that mean? If you worked at Verizon Wireless, or you worked at Apple, or you worked at any of those companies, customers, the job of a customer success person is to answer questions for you and just to do basic tasks for you when you call or you email them, for them to just kind of help you out with basic tasks. Customer support, the reason why customer success is a part of the tech sales space, because the job of the customer success person, they're not just someone you call or you email when you have a problem. Yes, they do that, but their main objective is to give you make sure you are having a quality experience. They continue to engage with you either week after week or month after month. They want to make sure you're having a quality experience with their company's technology. The reason why is because they want to make sure you renew your contract with the company. So they're not thinking, it's not like Verizon Wireless where, or something else where, okay, it's like a subscription. You have a subscription and they want to make sure you don't cancel your subscription. So they're constantly nurturing you. That's what customer success does. But the reason why it's sales is because they also try to get you to upgrade. So whatever tier you have, your customer success manager, it's their job to make sure you're getting a quality experience so that way you don't cancel your contract or so you renew your contract. But what they really want is for you to upgrade to another package or another feature. So that's why customer success is within the tech sales space, because no, they're not selling stuff to you, but they are passively selling to you by giving you a quality experience and by telling you about new features and new products that the company has. So customer success, when I say tech sales is great to get into, customer success is a part of the tech sales space. But best entry level roles in the tech sales industry, the DevOps space, or doing what it is that the Messi's talking about, going to the IT support help desk space, all of that. And so if you wanna do either tech sales or IT support, and you're willing to start somewhere around 50,000, $65,000, that range, I would say do Course Careers. If you want to have a discount, use our discount link. Or if you want to support Tech as a New Black while you're doing the program, use our discount link. Just comment "Get Me in Tech," or if you're on YouTube and LinkedIn, use the link down below. Or if you want to start at something higher, if you want to start out closer to around 85,000, 90,000, $100,000, then I would suggest doing our program instead, because the reason why we're able to start people at a higher salary is because we have job placement assistance with bigger name tech companies. So the salaries are automatically bigger. And so now, mind you, if budget is what you're concerned about, Course Careers is the better route for you, because Course Careers is crazy affordable. With the discount link, it's only $449. So if affordability is your concern, do Course Careers. But if your main concern is you're trying to start at the highest salary with the best company for your resume, then do our program. I'm indifferent to whichever one you do. I only care about whatever it is like your goals are personally. So it's completely up to you. Um, are we worried about AI? No, I'm not worried about AI at all. I'm not worried about it for me. I'm worried about it for people who are just treating their tech job just like just a job, and they're not really on top of everything that's happening in the industry. They're not upskilling, they're not advancing, they're not learning about how AI relates to their job. And again, the boot camps and programs I recommend, they teach you AI as it relates to your job. So you're competitive and you're like above everybody else when you finish these programs. Any suggestions on developing a portfolio for IT support? It's not necessary. Like getting a job in IT support, it's not that deep. It's not like, you got to have this portfolio, you got to have this, you got to have that. Literally, it's for the most part, it's fairly simple because it's a very, very entry level role. Let's see. Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder from a fall. Let's see. What are your hours? How's the work life balance? So he's off now, but I know his company, the company he works at. I know a lot of people that work there. I've been to his company. I've actually been to one of his company's parties before. And so y'all know I love going to a tech company party. Shoot. But anyway, no, the hours are pretty typical at his company. It's like they range between like 8 a.m., 4 p.m., or 8 a.m., 5 p.m. Like it's within that range. Now, in terms of work-life balance, I don't fully know. I know he's not overworking. I can tell you that much. I know he's not overworking because he and I have been texting, throughout the past week, and it wasn't hard communicating with him or getting in contact with him and him responding. And we were texting literally during the workday. So I will tell you, his company, they do want people to work hard at his company, though. So I will tell you that. But again, it varies company to company. Questions like, what are your hours? What is the work life balance? Those questions are kind of irrelevant to ask someone because that's always dependent upon what company they work at. And 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you're not going to end up at the same company as them. So, is there any type of test process you can take to see what you can best fit within the tech space? Yes. So, we actually have a tech career quiz. So, just comment tech quiz on Instagram. Now, YouTube, LinkedIn, this ain't gonna work for y'all. Y'all gotta come to Instagram. On Instagram, comment tech quiz, and we have a free quiz you could take. Spoiler alert: in order to kind of get your results or whatever, you have to like fill in your information, all of that stuff, to see if you want to do one of the programs we recommend. If you don't want to do one of the programs we recommend, which I suggest you do, but if you don't, just fill in the information and just don't continue to schedule an appointment with a team member. But yeah, you could just do the tech career quiz and that'll help you out. Somebody said, you don't see my comment. What comment? You asking what program he did? Yeah. You just comment, give me a text. Any advice for anyone who are accounting professionally looking to start a tech career? Yeah, if you are an accountant, I would suggest you figure out. So either same thing, either you do tech sales, you do something in the cloud space or DevOps, or I would say those two. I would say tech sales, cloud support, or DevOps. But specifically, you want to work at what's called a fintech company, because since you've been an accountant, there are tech companies where their technology is either for accountants or it's technology that does accountant work or does some type of work in that space. So, for example, what are some tech companies? What are some? I know some off the top of my head. There are some like think about it. If you're an accountant, there's technology you use that's centered around accounting. So what it is, it's called fintech, financial technology companies. There are a lot of financial technology companies. So my advice would be to do a boot camp, a program that gives you the education, but it also they support you when it comes to you getting job placement assistance. Because if they do that, they're going to give you guidance as to how to find a lot of fintech companies and how to apply to those. Obviously, we do that. We have job placement assistance, but I would say Course Careers is great. They don't have job placement assistance, but they have a lot of resources that'll help you when it comes to the main necessities for like your LinkedIn, for your applying like guidance when it comes to applying to companies. So they'll still give you the pieces that you need. If you're a person that you're more of a self-starter, you can do everything kind of self-paced, kind of on your own, as long as you have all the resources. They are a great option. If you need or want a lot more support, then our program is a good option. Both are good options. It depends on the person you are. It depends on your goals. How would AI affect the tech industry? AI is causing mass hiring and it's causing mass layoffs. It depends on the job in tech. So AI is hurting software engineering. Um, so don't go in tech as a software engineer. Don't go in tech as a scrum master. Don't go in tech as UX UI design. Nothing in design because AI can design things. So you want to do things, the best spaces to get into in tech, three industries. You either want to get in tech sales because if you're doing customer success management, or if you're doing account executive work, AI is not going to be able to replace you. Not meaning AI can't do the job. AI literally can't replace you. Companies have tested out having AI replace their tech sales teams, and they got a lot of backlash. And they immediately were like, okay, this ain't gonna work. So most tech companies are not gonna touch AI tech sales with a 10-foot pole. Like they're just not going to do that. Now, some might do that for SDRs, but that's not going to be the major tech companies. But they're not going to do it for account executives. They're not going to do it for sales engineers. They're not going to do it for customer success managers because many have tried and they realized really quickly their stock started dropping. They got a lot of complaints and they said, okay, never mind, this ain't going to work. Because no human wants to deal with an AI. It's like they want to deal with a person. And so, and the companies realize that they know this. So tech sales is great. DevOps is great because there's not even a way for AI to even do the job of a DevOps person because a DevOps person works with the developers and they work with the operations team. So it's literally they're working with two humans within the company, and they're the human in between is helping literally everything flow. They're helping the developers and the operation side work together. So they don't even know how DevOps, and also certain DevOps roles, you physically have to do stuff. Not like manual labor in the sense that it's heavy duty work, but it's like sometimes like you physically have to go in the server room and like change a few things around. So AI can't do that. And again, it's not just that, but it's also the you working in between two teams. So that's why DevOps is great. And the third reason, the third career or industry or space to get into, cybersecurity is great. It's just cybersecurity is really competitive. So that's why I don't recommend cybersecurity a lot. Maybe if you want to do GRC, that's cool. But and again, cybersecurity is a great industry to get into. It's just very competitive, very competitive. Um, Someone said UX UI has grown by 48% even with AI. I'll look into that. That's not based on the research I've done. Not saying I'm right, but I will say this. Even if you are right, so even if UX UI is still doing well right now despite AI, UX UI does not pay a lot of money. I'm not gonna say it pays well. It just has a lower ceiling compared to tech sales. Like no one in UX UI is making the same money you making in tech sales. And I'm not talking about entry level pay. I'm talking about most of my friends that are senior in tech sales, senior level, they're making on the low end, they're making 300,000. Most of them are making between 350 and $750,000. Ain't nobody in UX UI making no 400, $500,000. Like that just ain't happening. And I've interviewed people that are senior level in UX UI, and they're not cracking over $250,000 a year. And so I don't recommend it if you want to make a lot. Now, mind you, $150,000, $200,000 is still a lot of money. So I'm not downplaying it. I'm not like trying to hoe UX UI design. It's just my mind. And again, I know everyone doesn't think like me. My mind, I always want to put y'all onto stuff that you will start off making really good money and you can stay in that industry for 10, 15 years and keep making more money. And literally your income could just keep climbing, keep climbing. I don't want to tell anybody to get into an industry or a space where literally you crack 150,000, 200,000, and now you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I'll be real, I know some people think like, oh, all I need is $150,000, $200,000, and I'm good. You think that, and you start making that money, and it's good money. Life is good. But the thing about money is that when you start making more money, you end up in rooms around people that make more money. So, like, let's say for those of y'all that are probably making $40,000 a year, y'all probably have a few friends that are making 60, 70, 80, maybe $100,000 a year. And you're thinking, like, man, if only I can get to where they're at. But then when you get to where they're at, you'll realize, oh snap, there's people making $200,000, $300,000 a year. And then you'll realize, like, oh snap, I want to get to where they're at. I've said this all the time. I have friends now. Like I was in Colombia. Y'all know I'm mainly in Colombia and South America. There's a friend of mine. He's a young black guy. He owns his own tech company. Y'all know who he is. If I told you the name of his company and I told y'all who he is, a lot of y'all would be like, "Oh wow." I'm just not trying to air him out. That he was in he was in Colombia. But literally his company, all of it, he owns two different tech companies now. His companies are valued, each of them are valued north of like 20 or 30 million dollars each. And so technically speaking, he makes about 200, $300,000 a month. One of my close friends, Ty, some of y'all know him. Ty makes about $200,000 a month. He makes between about $150,000 and $250,000 a month. I'm telling y'all, a month. And I know some people are like, "What?" Like, believe it or not, even though he making that money, we also know people that are making $1 million a month. And then those people know people that are making $5 million a month. And so when you realize, now mind you, I'm gonna tell y'all my personal goal is to eventually get to where I'm making $10 million a month. That's my goal. I don't care. $10 million, I know for a fact, $10 million a month, I don't need more money than that. Because there's the person who makes $10 million a month versus the person that makes $100 million a month. They both of them live in the same neighborhood, because there is no neighborhood where you make $100 million a month versus a neighborhood where you make $10 million a month. Once you make a certain amount of money, you're just all y'all. Once you're in the top 0.01%, everybody you with, whether they billionaires or whether they only make $50 million a year, y'all all go to the same restaurants. Y'all go to the same, get invited to the same parties, y'all networking. So you reach the upper of upper echelons. And so, but anyway, but yeah, so let me get off that topic. Let me get back to y'all's questions. Um, but yeah, so my goal, I just want people to have the best opportunity so you can scale far. Realistically, I think most people, including myself, worst comes to worst, I think we are okay if we're making about 300,000 to a $500,000 a year. I think most people would be really okay. Once you try to go past that, I do think it's more ego. I think it's more ego when you go past that. Because again, making $200,000 a year versus $500,000 a year is a huge difference. But once you're making about $500,000 a year, you could go on a vacation a month if you want to. You could shop at designer place. You still got a budget. You can't be wilding out. At $500,000 a month, you could get a Lamborghini, and you could afford it, because that means you're making about what? You're making about $40,000 a month after taxes. You're making about $32,000 to $35,000 a month. If you get a Lamborghini, most likely your Lamborghini note, depending on what kind of Lamborghini you get. Oh, somebody started calling me. Sorry, y'all. Somebody's texting. They keep calling me. All right, cool. Either way, let me get off this topic. Y'all didn't even ask this question. I'm getting way off topic. Somebody said my cousin makes $360,000 as a DevOps engineer. Yep, that's spot on. DevOps, you make a lot of money in DevOps. Someone asked, what about software? What about QA engineer? I would say this. if you are going to get into QA right now, this is the last year I would encourage you to try to get in QA. I will say this, and this is going to sound, I will, when it comes to QA, our program is the only one I would recommend specifically for QA. I wouldn't only recommend our program for tech sales. I wouldn't even only recommend our program for DevOps. But if you're talking QA, I would only recommend our program. The reason why is because QA does not hire as much as a lot of the other roles that I mentioned, but we have job placement assistance. So we can help people. I don't care what other QA program someone will do, they don't have job placement assistance. So they will have a very tough time helping you get a job. So, and I'll be real with y'all, this year is even the last year we're doing job placement assistance for QA, because even the recruiters and the hiring leaders we work with, they're like, they were like, hey, this is probably the last year we're able to like help like your students and people get jobs in QA at these companies. So QA is still gonna be here for a few years, but in terms of getting an entry level job, there won't be a lot of entry level jobs. So that's why this, in my opinion, this is the last year to get in the QA space if you want to work as a software QA engineer. So as a person getting into tech, where should I start? Rewatch the video, because I answered that question like 3 times, respectfully. Yeah, so for those of y'all on Instagram, just comment "get me in tech" if you want a discount link to the same program the guest did that I interviewed, or if you want job placement assistance. If you don't need a boot camp, you just need job placement assistance, you can schedule with the team. So for those of y'all on YouTube and LinkedIn, just click the link down in the description below. I'm about to answer 1 or 2 more questions, and then I am wrapping up. Somebody said, bro, I just switched from metal stamping to metal stamping sales, same company. It was because uh, I did course careers and I had a background with terminology. I want to scale in tech sales. So yeah, so I would say this, because you've already done course careers, you don't need to do our tech sales program. I would say just tap in with us specifically for our job placement assistance, because we can help you when it comes to you getting in at bigger tech companies and making a lot more money. Um, um, what y'all saying? Where does the healthcare industry fit with the tech industry? It's called health tech. There are a lot of tech companies that are specific to the healthcare industry. So it's called health tech. Health tech. So yeah, so that fits in the tech industry. What's QA? QA is quality assurance, but in the tech space, it's where you're testing your company's technology. Essentially, you are like an internal customer for your company. You're giving feedback on what's working, what's not working, what changes need to be made, um, basically to enhance the company's product. For example, we are on IG Live right now. Before Instagram Live was launched, Instagram had a QA team tested out themselves for many months before Instagram finally released it to the public. Same thing for Reels, same thing for every new feature that pops up on social media. A QA person tested that feature out first. Either they tested it out or they built out a software to test that feature out. So QA is a person, that's why they call it QA tester or software tester. They're a person who tests software to make sure it does what it needs to do. They make sure if it needs to make any changes, any adjustments, if something doesn't work, whatever, even down to things as small as the color needs to change, or the button should be on the left instead of the right, or hey, I click on the button but it's not working, all of that stuff. So that's really what it is. And then once the QA person gives the approval, and once the entire product team has approved it, usually there's a product manager who gives it the green light, then it gets released to the public, or it gets released on what's called EAP, early adopters program. So for social media, what that looks like, y'all know when Instagram releases a feature, but everybody doesn't get it, only a few people get it. That's where the QA team has approved it, but they still aren't 100% sure, because we're humans. So they release it to the public, but just to a small amount of people, just to get feedback on it. And if everything seems good to go, then they make it available for everybody on social media. So that's kind of the behind the scenes as to how it works. The QA team is a part of that. So all of us are familiar. It's a one way, shape, or form as to like that experience. How soon can you expect to get hired? So I would say this: you can expect to get hired. The person I just interviewed, he's not on here anymore. He literally started the program and got his job within 5 weeks. So he finished the program in 2.5 weeks. He got a job 2 weeks after that. So I would say it could be as fast as 2 weeks. It could be as long as a year. It depends on the work you put in. It depends on how well you're interviewing. It depends on you doing your part. So whatever program I recommend to you, whether it's ours, whether it's another one that I recommend that I think is great, I can promise you this. The programs I recommend to you, thousands of people have gotten in tech through the programs. The programs I recommend to you, they have top quality education. So you're going to be fully educated. The programs I recommend to you, you're going to receive some type of resources and or support with getting a job. But guess what? You still got to do the work to get the job, because nobody can get the job for you. Nobody can interview for you. No one can apply to the company for you and make sure they're filling all the information in right as it applies to you. No one can follow up with the recruiter. No one can do those things but you. And so I've seen people do the same program he did. I've interviewed a lot of people who've done the program that he did, and they got a job within less than 1 month. A lot of people. I've also interviewed people that did the program he did, and then they got a job 8 months later after they finished the program. So I've seen both. One thing I will tell you: the only people who don't get a job is the people that just either, one, they not really trying, two, they just want to like apply to 3 companies and get a job, or three, they just give up. Like they just are like, they just whatever reason give up, which to me is crazy. It's like, why would you give up on trying to make more money and get a career? Because once you get in the industry, not like you can kick your feet up, but once you're in the industry, now it's easier to stay in the industry and to scale. What do you think of SDET? Yeah, we already talked about that. Software development, engineering, test. That's QA. We spent like a whole 10 minutes talking about that. Are you a fan of ChatGPT? Yeah, I love ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. I love AI. I think it's incredible. Do we pay for job placement assistance? No, no. The recruiters and hiring managers and all of them, they do all the work for free as a charity. They help you get job placement assistance for the biggest tech companies in the world, like Google, and AWS, and Microsoft, and Salesforce. They do it completely for free. They give up all their time for free. I'm completely joking. I'm being sarcastic. Yes, no, the program definitely costs, because the recruiters hiring the people that work at these major companies, they got to be paid. Like they're specifically helping you to get jobs within the companies, and they don't get paid to do that. Like they get paid to work at their company. So we pay them, of course. But yeah, so no, the service is not free at all. It's not free at all. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've gotten to the point where I used to want things to be free for people. I'm at the point now, and I'm kind of like just kind of being transparent now, y'all. I actually don't want anything to be free for anybody anymore. And I say that because I personally have paid for people to do boot camps. Like I've given people money to do boot camps. I've given people money to I mean family members, friends. I've done everything in the world to help people, and then they did the bare minimum, or they did nothing at all. And I've really come to terms with, I believe that God, I truly believe in reaping and sowing. And we think about reaping and sowing, we tend to think about it in a negative way. But I truly believe that it's the nature of God, that God wants us to put in work for something to happen. Like the Bible says, faith without works is dead. And so I've realized every single person I have ever interviewed that got in tech, you know what? There's one person who got in tech who I didn't pay for him to get in tech, but his pastor did. But I paid for him to go to Afrotech, which is the tech conference. So I paid for him to go to Afrotech. His pastor paid for him to do the boot camp, and he got a job at the conference. And so that's the closest thing to it. But his pastor was on his back about it though. Like that was not no play type stuff. Because his pastor ain't no pushover type of pastor. He low key a G. And so outside of that, I've never seen a person get in tech where I made it free for them or I helped it be free for them. Never one person ever. It's always been people that they really put the work in. And I truly believe God taught me a lesson for me to stop trying to save people. And even though I'm saving people by telling people about boot camps, by giving you all these nuggets and gems, God has taught me to stop trying to stop the part they have to do. Because sometimes it's not about sometimes the work you put in and the investment you put in, God does something in you through the process, through the sacrifice of what it is that you do. And so it's like there's a scripture in the Bible, and I know all of y'all ain't Christians, but just follow me for a second. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about Jesus, and this scripture used to kind of confuse me when I was younger. And I'm paraphrasing, but the scripture talks about how Jesus, because of Jesus's sacrifice, it made him more glorious than he already was. And that confused me because I was like, yo, he was already God. Like, how was he like he was already God, already the son of God? Like, how did he do something that made him more glorious? And so, anyway, that being said, let me get off that. I'm not trying to preach, but just using that as an example for us, many times it's what we put into something that God uses that to actually produce something in us and out of us. Like it's not really what happens to us that transforms us. It's what we do with what's happened to us that transforms us. And so that's why there are some people, and I'm gonna give a raw example. There are some people that had been essayed, abused in a sexual way when they were younger, and they grow up to do the same thing to other people. You know, Diddy, for example. For anybody that doesn't know, Diddy was essayed a lot when he was younger. He went to a Catholic school. His Catholic teacher, it was known he literally had essayed other students, and Diddy was one of his students. So it hasn't been proven that he essayed Diddy, but he was literally the Catholic person who presided over Diddy while Diddy was there at the Catholic school, and he had gotten charged with essaying a lot of people. So we know what happened, because you don't just become a Diddy just to become a Diddy. Like some stuff happened to him clearly. But then you also have people who had been essayed or something horrible happened to them, and they through that process they decided they were going to save people or help people from that. And so that being said, yeah, no, I'm at the point now where I actually I don't think anything. I think it's a blessing. I think God wants us to. I mean, we all know this. Like God, when you're talking about, if you want to grow muscles, you gotta suffer in the gym. You know, if you want to lose weight, you gotta suffer when it comes to not eating as much as you want to eat. If you want to have a loving relationship, you have to suffer through that relationship and through y'all having issues and trials. You know, whatever it is, there is some level of sacrifice and suffering. And literally, there's a parallel. I think that's just a parallel that God created, where God made the universe to where if we want anything, like in order for God to have us, He had to suffer so he could have us and so we could have him. But in order for us to have him, we have to die to our flesh and die to the things that keep us back from our relationship with him. So just, I believe the law of the universe, the law of God, I want to be clear, law of the universe, law of God, whatever, is that sacrifice and suffering, intentional sacrifice and suffering, strategic sacrifice and suffering produces great things. I mean, there's a lot of scriptures on that, whatever. But anyway, let me get off that topic. I'm preaching too much, you know. All right, I'm gonna answer two more questions and I'm hopping off. What advice would you give to someone like me who left public 6 months ago and wants to break into the tech industry? What are the two best areas of tech? I answered this. So I'm gonna answer this one more time because I'm about to wrap up. The best areas to get in tech are tech sales or DevOps. Those are the two best because both of those are in high demand. Both of those are not being replaced by AI. And again, both of those are, I want to be very clear, both of those are sub industries in tech. So in tech sales, there's a lot of jobs you can do in tech sales. In DevOps, there's a lot of different jobs you can do in DevOps. But either way, either tech sales or DevOps, both are in high demand. Both pay really, really well, even entry level. Both scale really, really far where you can make $300,000, $400,000 and more than that. A lot of opportunity in both, and both are not going to be getting replaced by AI at least no time soon. You always got to put that asterisk there. So I would recommend one of those. If you want to do tech sales, and you mentioned you left public, so if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have good credit, I would recommend you probably doing the program. The person I just interviewed, literally it's just $449. If you click the description link down below, you'll see it there. You can click on the link, check it out, all that good stuff, and that'll be good. If you want to start off making a lot more money and you want job placement assistance, a cohort, an instructor, then I would recommend our program. And so, and same thing, click the link down below. You'll see the link in the description there for you. So hopefully that answers it for everybody. Um, if one chooses the data analytics, can you still go for it? No, you can't. So the question is, if you go for a data analytics program, can you still get a tech sales job? Nope, nope, nope. Because there is zero correlation. Zero correlation. Yeah, zero correlation. No, no, no. So again, y'all, you have to be specific. Think of it like college. Think of it like if I go to college, if I go to law school, can I still get a job as a heart surgeon? No. Both respected careers, but entirely different. Entirely different. You know what? This is a better example. If I go to school to be a brain surgeon, like if you specifically go to school to be a brain surgeon, can I get a job as a heart surgeon? No. Now, maybe you can learn both, but if you specifically go and you learn the specifics of a brain surgeon, you're not going to get called to also do heart surgery. Same thing for the tech industry. Same thing for the tech industry. What somebody asked a question. Your dive. Mm. All right. I'm gonna look for one more question. Is it possible to scale up in tech sales from 5 figures to 6 figures? Most people that I know start at 6 figures in tech sales. The question should be: is it possible to scale to 7 figures? That's a better question because scaling to, like, is it possible to scale to 6 figures in tech sales? If you don't get to 6 figures in tech sales, what are you doing? Because that's expected. That's like normal. That's like very normal in tech sales. Like if you were making $250,000 in tech sales, nobody would be impressed. That's pretty normal. Like that's good money in tech sales, but that's not like, whoa, how are you making $250,000 in tech sales? That's very normal. But 7 figures is really your question because you can make $1 million in tech sales. That's the harder thing to do. You have to be strategic. Like, for instance, our instructor for our tech sales program, he is on route to being a millionaire by working in tech sales. He's obviously very high up. He just transitioned from Microsoft to another tech company, ServiceNow. He went from Microsoft to ServiceNow. And ServiceNow, they have an opportunity to where he could, with his OTE, could be making $1 million a year. So that's what he's working on right now. So you can do that in tech sales, but 6 figures, that's not even, it's kind of like, that's like, yeah, that's the expectation. I'm a mom, good tech career for a busy mom, tech sales, any of these, honestly. So let me say this. it depends on what you want. So if because I've interviewed people in tech sales that are moms that are single parents. So let me say this: if you are very busy, then I would say if you're very busy, I would say do DevOps or do QA because that'll give you, on average, it'll give you the most freedom, work life balance. Usually you'll be remote. If I would say one of those, but if you're good when it comes to customer facing stuff, sales, and you're fine having meetings and stuff between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., then tech sales will be fine for you as well. Cloud computing is good. That's a good space to get into. Definitely good space. What was your role in this industry? I started off in tech sales. So that's why I talk a lot about tech sales. I started off in what's called a sales engineer. I don't recommend people to do what I did in terms of being a sales engineer because sales engineering is not in really high demand. It's in demand, but it's nowhere near. Again, y'all, I'm here to help y'all get the best thing that's in demand. So I used to promote sales engineering, but the demand for it has gone down. So now I don't promote it anymore because I want to make sure y'all are good. For those of y'all that are, yeah, so I started off in tech sales. So sales engineering is within the tech sales space. Now I've switched over to something else in tech. I could say what it is. I mean, I'll say what it is. Again, I don't recommend y'all to try to do this because I got a job because I have job placement assistants. Like I have a lot of recruiters and hiring managers that I know. So I literally got the job offers before I even applied. Now I still had to apply. I still had to interview. Like you still got to go through the ropes. But literally the recruiters reached out to me with the offers. And so, but what I do is something called RPA, robotic processing automation. So which might be getting replaced by AI in the next year or so. So I'm probably going to be switching over to DevOps myself. Good stuff. Good stuff. Would you be interested in being a mentor for nonprofit organizations? Yeah, I'm open to that. I mean, it depends on what it looks like. Now I wouldn't do it as like charity. I definitely would want to be like compensated some kind of way. Um, but I would love to. I mean, that'd be cool, especially if it's working with like younger people or that would be cool, like purpose wise. But yeah, I'm open to it. That sounds cool, and it wouldn't have to be nothing ridiculous. Like I ain't like yo, you got to give me $20,000 a month or something crazy. But yeah, I mean, if there's some type of budget, let's talk about it. Maybe it'll work out for us, or maybe I could point you in another direction. I wonder where this tech industry will be when my kids get older and willing to work in tech. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting depending on how old your children are. What skills are needed for tech? It depends on what you want to, or in tech sales. So, I mean, you learn the skills in whatever program you do. You learn the skills. I mean, communication. So, let me mention some soft skills. You got to be a good communicator. You have to be some level of confident. That doesn't mean you don't. People think you got to be an extrovert. You don't have to be an extrovert. I know a lot of people in tech sales that are not extroverts, and they do exceptionally well. You just have to be a good communicator, and you have to be confident. Those are the two pieces I would say. Good communicator, confident, and you can't be lazy. How can I jump into tech sales? Do the program, one of the programs. What is DevOps? I explained that earlier. I kind of broke down what it was. AI strategists and consultants has been trending. Any recommendations for boot camps? Yeah, so I would say we have an instructor. We've been working on an AI prompting program that also will involve low code, no code, and some other things when it comes to AI, basically like AI coding for you. So that's something that we're working on. There are other programs out there. So if you're ready to do something like that now, I know there are programs like that exist. I will tell you, I personally don't know of any that do that personally. Okay, cool. All right, thanks. I see your comment. All right, y'all. Look, I'm about to jump. I'm about to jump. I'm about to jump. Uh, Is DevOps and sales go together? Yes and no. They don't overlap in terms of job. They're two completely different industries, but you can do tech sales and you can sell cloud software or you can sell cloud services. So you can work at, like, I have friends that work at AWS. I have friends that work at Microsoft, because AWS is Amazon Web Services. That's a cloud service. Microsoft has their own cloud service called Microsoft Azure. Google has Google Cloud Providers, GCP. Um, so Google has a cloud service as well. You can be a salesperson in tech. You can be doing tech sales for the cloud providers. On the flip side, you can on the flip side, you can be that's kind of silly. Whatever. Yeah, you can do tech sales work at a cloud type company, basically. Can you give recommendation for a QA boot camp? Yes. I would recommend our QA program. Interestingly enough, I would say this. The boot camp I did, Careerist, they recently have done some updates to their QA program. So I would give you two suggestions. I would either say theirs. Now, they don't have job placement assistance, but people have gotten jobs through their QA program, even without job placement assistance. So I would say, to give you two options, I would either say our program, we have job placement assistance, our program's fire, are literally the instructor of our program. He did our program to get in tech. And then a little over a year later, he came back to be the instructor. So the same instructor of our program also did the program himself to get in the industry, and he still works in tech. He just does the program part-time as an instructor. So either one, our program, or I would say the boot camp that I did, Careerist. Again, I didn't do their QA program, but that's the boot camp that I did. So if you want a discount for their program, and I have a pretty huge discount, I think my discount is like $500 off or something like that. Then I would say use hit me up for my discount. Or do our program. Either way, uh, good options all the way around. Um, so, or I would say if you want to do their program, you could do their program, and if you don't get a job, you could just come to us for job placement assistance. But if you want everything kind of in house, then just come to us. So either way, both good options. Can I do tech sales independently, like not working at a tech company? Like like contract work. I mean, you can get contracted at a company. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You need to work at a tech company so you can get the benefits, you can get the good pay, everything is set. You don't want to try to be out here just kind of. Now, mind you, you can do what's called channel sales. When you do channel sales, but that's like next level. You gotta scale. You gotta have experience to do that. But I know people in channel sales that are making millions of dollars a year, literally, no cap and no exaggeration. All right, y'all, I'm about to go. It's way past the curfew that I set. I love y'all. This was fun. This was good. Again, for those of y'all looking to get in the tech industry, if you're on Instagram, comment "Get Me in Tech," and you can either choose our program or you can choose Course Careers if you're looking for more of a budget. If you're fine with doing something self-paced, again, it's a great option. I've interviewed close to 40 people who've done Course Careers and got jobs. So if you want to use our discount link, comment "Get Me in Tech." We'll send you the discount link. Or if you don't need to do a boot camp, but you just want job placement assistance and you want to start off at a higher salary, then do our program instead. Speak to our team, all of that good stuff. Both good options for you, depending on what it is you want to do. For those of y'all that are on LinkedIn and YouTube, click the link in the description down below, and you'll see that there's two different links, two different options down there for you. So what it takes to start a tech company? Whoa, that's a doozy of a question. I am going to start interviewing tech founders. So that I'm going to start going live interviewing tech founders. Actually, let's start this upcoming Sunday. That's the goal. This upcoming Sunday, I'm going to start interviewing tech founders. The thing though, their company has to be making or has to be worth at least $1 million. And I'm gonna be real. That's really broke. That's really, really broke. Like, that's not impressive. But we'll start off there. I'm not going to interview any tech founders if their company doesn't have a valuation or it's not generating at least like $1 million a year. Really, I shouldn't be interviewing anybody that tech company is not doing at least 10 million a year or doesn't have a valuation of at least 10 million. 1 million is kind of sort of interviewing somebody that really don't know what they're doing, honestly. But we'll start there. And eventually I'll be interviewing people that their companies are making $50 million a year. But I'll start doing that once a week or once every other week. Make sure y'all tune in so y'all can learn from scratch, start to finish, what it takes to build a tech company and grow a tech company. And also what I'll do, I'll partner with some type of funding business or some type of investment group. So those of you that want to create a startup, you can get funding or some type of investment for a startup or something that you want to do. But again, I ain't saying that's going to be anytime soon. So nobody be like, oh, we jump on that now. That'll be down the line. That's something I'll work on. So aside from that, look, y'all, love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Thank y'all for tuning in. Okay, I'm trying to think out of the box. Do you have to go back to college to start a tech company? No, you don't. Most of the biggest tech companies in the world, the founders dropped out of college. No, you don't need to go to college to start a tech. You don't need to go to college for tech, period. Let alone start a tech company. So anyway, y'all be blessed. Have a blessed and beautiful evening. Love y'all very much.